It's interesting. I've been reflecting. My daughter told me the end of last week that she's starting IVF. And, I knew it was something that was on the cards, and it's actually been something that I've been trying to push back. And I'm trying to work out why I feel quite sort of guilty in some ways that I've been encouraging her to wait to, every month where she's not been pregnant, it's kind of like, oh, it'll be okay, next month. And it's been a year and a half, and it's been a very difficult year and a half. And also in that year and a half, we discovered about 5 months back now exactly what was going on for her. So, she's got endometriosis, adenomyosis, some impact from polycystic ovaries, just to cap it all off. But I insisted that at the same time that they test her partner, and she said to me at the time, Mum, it's okay, we know I've got the problem. And I said, but if there is some problem with him as well, then, you need to know that. And so they did. And, there's a secondary issue. Now, it's not an insurmountable issue, but then they've spent the last 6 months trying to see if it would, work out and resolve itself, and it hasn't. It's a very difficult thing for a mother to feel this sense of helplessness around your adult child, that you can't fix a problem for them, especially when you've always been the fixer, right? And, that's me. I've always been the fixer. So it's hard. It's hard to sit back and watch, and knowing that this is the beginning of a very challenging journey that's, hormone injections that make all of the symptoms and everything else even more difficult for her, right? And, maybe at the end of it all, there'll be a successful pregnancy. And, I was thinking about this. This isn't the grief and the loss of, potentially a grandchild for me. That my needs and wants really aren't part of this. I'm more grieving for the fact that I can't help her. And in some ways, there's probably a little bit of guilt sitting there about the fact that, I've told her for a long time that it would just be easy because it was arguably easy for me. But, I was 8 years younger than she is now. What I know of my own health, especially reproductive health, is that I probably would have had just as many difficulties if I'd waited as long as, young people do these days. And then last night I watched the movie, Joy, the IVF story, obviously because it's now part of my journey, right? Even if at a distance. But I'm just so grateful that, health practitioners and scientists choose sometimes to push themselves to explore something differently. And they're often ridiculed for what they do at the time. And certainly I know that feeling. And yet, they've advanced reproductive health in such a way that means that, we can now do things to help people who, are childless that we could never have done before. And some of the pushback that they got from, the church, the government, 10 years they pushed before they were able to successfully produce a live baby for a couple that wasn't able to have children. But if we didn't actually explore it or push boundaries, nobody would be able to benefit from that. I just think that that's pretty amazing. Anyway, this is probably a journey I'll share a little bit more about from the parents' perspective, I did check with her if it was okay for me to talk about it, and she wants to talk about it herself because there's very little information out there. But I think as the grandparent of this, potential baby that may come from an IVF process, I don't think we talk about it, right? That sense of helplessness around your own child, the sense of loss or grieving for a child that still hasn't appeared, no matter how much everybody wants them to. So I just thought I'd start to share some of this stuff. It's not easy to talk about, but hopefully in sharing it, some of you might also benefit from that.